Hey guys, it's me David and welcome back to week 5 of building Geonosis. Glad to be back. We took last week off and we're actually going to be taking next week off too, so we're in a weird period here in June right now. But I do have some really awesome building to show you guys. We are going to be focusing on starting the mountain today, which is really fun. I've come up with a really interesting design. Nothing like I've done before with mountain building, especially with like Kashyyyk or Crate. This is an entirely new technique that I'm using and I can't wait to show you guys here in just a few minutes. Now before we dive into this week's video, I do actually have a sponsor for week 5 of building Geonosis, and that is Brickles. So I know what you're thinking, what the heck is a Brickle? So they're actually Lego compatible nameplate signs, and as you can see, they are quite incredible. They actually sent over my full solid brick studios in 3 separate signs, and you can customize this however you want. So you can get your full name, you can get your YouTube channel, whatever you can write out of text you can make a Brickle with, which I think is really cool. They run an Etsy shop, and there's more than just the lettering that I showed you. There's other Lego like lettering that you can choose from, so I will leave a link down in the description if you guys want to check it out. I actually think it's a really cool product, and Lego bricks do indeed stick to it. And if you use Brix 2021, you'll get 10% off your first order. So a big thank you to Brickles for sponsoring this video today. Now let's go ahead and dive into a time lapse, and it's going to be a little bit different. So the first thing that I've done this week is indeed make more Geonosian spires. I've been trying to keep the techniques different so that it's not just overly repetitive. So there are some different looking spires. They all have the general same shape, but I try to mix it up in some different type of way. I know that one kind of looks like a rocket ship, but hey, I think it kind of looks cool. It's my little rocket ship spire. But I had fun making these, and I actually really like this one right here in particular, mainly because of this right here. Underneath, I'm using the tree limb pieces that actually, well, they're not really tree limbs. They're actually more of like, they're used for like octopus tentacles and stuff like that on Lego figures and all those type of sets. But they do actually come in dark orange. And I kind of angled this one. It kind of looks like the leaning spire of Geonosis. I kind of leaned it a little bit, and I think that one looks really cool, that you have this type of weird, structure using those tentacle pieces to like create something more weird looking, because Geonosians are bugs and they kind of make like weird repetitive type of stuff. So I was trying to get a little bit more of that vibe with some of the spires, and I think some of them turned out pretty well. Now, another thing is these spires are not in their final positions. I just kind of threw them all over the place here. I'm not sure where all the spires will end up in the final mock, but hopefully you get an idea of what they look like now, and they will be popping up more and more over time. This is not all of them. I do plan on making more, some more thicker ones, some more thinner ones. Really, again, trying to keep them looking different. And I also do plan on including them on top of the mountain as well when we get to that. Speaking of the mountain, let's go back in the time lapse and show you guys what I am going to get up to today. So based off week 4's comments, everybody seemed to enjoy this design. I got a lot of great feedback and constructive criticism, so I really appreciate all of you guys commenting down in the comments. Again, I love to get you guys feedback, so please feel free to always comment. But yeah, so great reaction from this. And so now I've taken this and created this over here. It's basically a much bigger version of the original prototype that I just showed. And as you can see, I have that same type of tunnel design right here that will eventually lead into catacombs that we will build at a later date. But what I've also done is started working on this mountain. I've talked about the switchback mountain for quite some time, but I haven't actually started building it. We are finally entering this last phase of base plates. I really wanted to go for something different here, and that was definitely the goal, is come up with a different mountain design. I have built so many mountains. Crate had a ton, Kashyyyk had a ton. Mandalore didn't, but it was still a lot of repetitive, tall buildings and stuff like that. I wanted to do something different here, and I actually went with a snot technique. Now, this is nothing new. I've seen lots of Lego designers and the community come up with snot technique on the side of mountains. It usually looks very nice, but I personally haven't implemented it into my mocks until now. Another reason why I can't just build upwards with normal slope pieces is dark orange slopes are very rare, they're very expensive, and they're just hard to come by. So this was the other option, and I think it is probably honestly the better option. Just taking a closer look at what I've been up to, as you can see, you have to think of it as this. I built this right here, especially this section. I built it actually upwards, and then I just flipped it on its side. Again, studs not on top, otherwise known as snot. Always a strange term. It really elevates the build. I mean, just look at that. That's already looking absolutely fantastic. And so now I want to go ahead and continue on with this. Now, my next idea, and this is something I haven't seen anybody else do, is to modularly build the mountain, one little section at a time using snot. And I know that sounds really strange, and I think it'll make more sense when I show it to you. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. All right, so here's what I've come up with. This is my snot mountain building modular design. So what I've done here is, if I just take this off like so, you'll see I've made little modular sections. And that's the idea, is just to make a whole bunch of these and make them different. Don't just make the same exact thing, but make a whole bunch of these roughly same size panels and stack them along, creating a mountain. Sounds simple. It is a little bit more complicated than just as simple as it sounds, but it does work, and I think it's going to really effectively make some really cool creations. Now, this is another example, so you can see there's a vast difference between these two in terms of shape. This is shorter in terms of its height, and it's far wider in terms of its width here, whereas this one is taller and its width is shorter. So again, I can mix them up like this and really start to create some cool combinations, which I think is really, really cool. With the modular approach, I can really go in and actually switch sections up. Like if this section doesn't work here, I don't like how it's looking, I can easily just put that over here or down there. That's the beauty of this design, and I think that is really cool. Maybe you guys think it's just boring as all heck, but I think it's pretty neat, and I really like the final results. But just giving you guys more views, it really does look good. I love the snot mountain building techniques, and I honestly can't wait for the weeks to come where we're going to build more of these modular sections. And it honestly makes mountain building far easier. I always feel like I'm just sitting at the same place, just stacking and stacking, where I can sit on a different table and really take my time with these sections and really think about how I want to make something, and then I take it over to this table and kind of place it like it's a puzzle and have fun with it. And for those of you who are wondering, well, David, what are you going to do about this side with all this ugly mess right here? Well, I actually left two studs right here, two brick studs wide, and that's going to allow me to just build up an entire wall of either dark orange or nougat or something like that, and kind of carve out like little doorways and such so you can see those Geonosian catacombs around this area right here. So that's going to conclude this week's worth of building, guys. I'm really, really excited. Let me know what you think of the modular technique down in the comments below. Let's go ahead and end it out. All right, guys, that is it. I hope you enjoyed this week. I love what's going on with the techniques that I've come up with for the mountain. I would love to hear your feedback on what you think of it. I'm sure other people have used similar ideas with their own mocks, but I haven't, and this is all new to me, so I think that's kind of cool, at least to me. Hopefully you guys find it interesting too. Again, like I talked about in the beginning of the video, we will be off next week. I actually don't want to give you a date right now. It's TBD, to be determined, on when the next week, week 6 of building Geonosis will come out. Mainly because there's a lot of things happening behind the scenes. And before we go, if you want to get that next episode of Geonosis, which is TBD, hit the subscribe button down below, guys. That is going to be your best way of getting week 6. So if you want to see the next progress update, hit that button. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.